Can we start with Nick now then? Will he play? Will he be on the flight?
He'll be on the flight, yep. Look, this is difficult because we can't give away too much now. Yeah, we don't want to give Brizzy a break there in terms of who we're playing. So, but he'll be on the plane.
I think you said Monday night he'll play. He'd come through the week off pretty well.
Yeah, he trained well today. So, pointing towards him playing, isn't it? If he's on the plane.
So who misses out? There you go.
Look, all I'll say is it's a 6-day break. We're going to go in with a pretty young side. We're going to see what a couple of players can do who've been playing at East Perth, and we're excited about what we might see this week.
You look to experiment with midfield a little bit, considering no Rose and now no Sell, Yo's also out. So a chance to have a look with you guys.
Spot on. Yeah, really good opportunity to see how we can go with the different personnel in there, and albeit we haven't got a heap of depth in our midfield at the moment with the injuries we've got, but we'll try a few different things this week.
Who's been really exciting you at East Perth then?
We had a good win at East Perth. We had some, we had 10 or 12 players, senior players playing, and we lost College to an ankle injury. He's out for 3 or 4 weeks, but we saw some good performances there from a number of players, and there'll be up to 5 changes this week.
Everyone talks about your midfield, talks about the size, talks about the pace. After 2/3 of the season here, do you subscribe to the theory you're too small and too slow there, and is that sort of something you need to address between now and round 23 or 24?
The biggest thing I'm looking for with our midfield and with anyone who plays on our side is competitive instinct. So the size and shape and legs, I think, is secondary. So I just want mids who have a crack and put their head over the ball. And I think you can manage, as a player, being a bit shorter or a bit slower if you can win your own ball, especially inside mids. So the notion that we're too slow or not tall enough or those things, if we are competitors, then you can sort of manage. But when you don't compete, doesn't matter what size you are, you're going to struggle.
Let this guys get a good run of it now with Rose's injury. You might see him play the next 6 games.
Yeah, I need to see some of these players who are playing at East Perth play, just to see what potentially they can deliver us in coming years. But yeah, we've lost a couple, and we've given opportunity to others as well. Hutch we think he's performed pretty well this year for a 15-game player. He's consistently played and delivered us good numbers. So, and Maston and Gaff and these guys are also contributing in ways that we've been working on from the start of the year. So we're starting to see good development, but we are batting a little bit skinny at the moment.
Just back to Nick Nat for a minute. How would you assess his form over the last couple of weeks?
We didn't play last week, so...
The last couple of games,
yeah. Yeah, it's the same as everyone. He had a month there of dominance, and he was the best ruckman in the competition through performance and through his numbers. And he was a bit off against St Kilda, and he looked like he needed a break against Freo. So we gave him one.
Forget how much pre-season he missed, can he really afford to miss another game as well?
Oh, well, this week? Look, we're managing him this year. There's no excuse for his performance. We want to continue to put games into him when we can, but at the same time, you've got to understand his body and where it's at. So we think him having a rest is going to make him perform better.
Is there a temptation even to maybe give him the rest of the year off and get ready for next year?
We don't want to get him to the end of the year and him needing another operation. So we need to assess that. But it's not at that level.
Last 2 weeks, you've had a massive crack and almost got there. How do you assess that? Is that a good sign or a bad sign? If you know what I mean?
You want effort. Yeah, we've delivered effort, but we haven't done it for 4 quarters. And you've heard me say this. Many coaches say these things as well. The good teams do it for 4 quarters, and the last 2 games we've played against probably the 2 top 4 teams in the competition have just done it harder for longer.
I was asking about Dom Sheed and how you see his progression this year.
What are you alluding to? Dom's an 18-year-old who's in his first year, and he got an opportunity early on, and I'd like to think he'll get another opportunity in the next 7 games.
As someone like Gaff, has Gaff improved a little bit this year and it's maybe gone under the radar a little bit, you think?
That's a good question. I think he's having a pretty consistent year, and I know he gets criticised on occasions about he can't handle a tag or he can't do this, can't do that, but he's performing a role that we've put in front of him, and I think he's doing it pretty consistently. There's another gear he can go to, another level, but we're pretty happy about how he's going, for sure.
He seems to get pretty solid numbers now, week in and week out, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's consistent, which is the first sign of maturity.
What's the next level he needs to take?
Probably impact on the game. You know, you best 3 or 4 players in your side. So I think he's done that a couple of times this year, but I think he's got the ability to be one of those guys who can break a game open. So that's his next step.
What's your thinking about up forward without Kennedy? I know you don't want to give too much away.
Difficult.
Is there anything you can tell us?
We've got to explore something different, don't we? You know, Gov, we subbed him last week. He'll get another opportunity. He's a 5-game player, so we're going to give him another crack at it. But we need to do something a little bit different than what we've been doing in recent weeks, for sure.
Would you play Callum Sinclair as a forward? Adam, is that a consideration?
We're looking at that. He's in the mix.
It looked like you wanted to play him last week, didn't it? But it didn't quite.
Yeah. I think it was. There's a bit going on before the game last week. Yeah, there was. He was part of the mix, and then the weather came, and I think Sydney had certain things going in their planning as well. That the weather changed a lot of things.
What has Gov's week been like this week? Do you treat him differently? Put last week down as just part of the learning curve, or do you treat him differently? Talk to him and.
I spoke to him after the game, and it's just part of his evolution as a player. You know, you're not going to play like he was every week. Conditions didn't suit, but he was poor, and he'll bounce back. You know, but it's all part of him. I mean, you don't play well every week, and if you do, you're going to be an exceptional player. So it's part of his development.
Adam, is it fair to say over the next 7 weeks you have some players who you'll be playing to see where they're at, and then the other players you'll be playing to see whether they're relevant to your list going forward? Do you have some players who will play for their careers over the next 6 or 7 weeks?
Yeah, I think every club has that, no matter where they are on the ladder. Players playing for their careers, for sure.
Xavier plays his 100th, presume he's on the plane. Can you expand on him as a player and him as a person and that achievement?
Oh, I'm really happy for Xavier. I'm not sure how many games he's played this year. It'd have to be over 12 or 13, 15. So for a guy who's played maybe 4 games in 3 years, to come over here and manage his body and fit into the club the way he has, and then play consistent football for the most part of the year. He's had a little minor setback. It's a credit to him and his preparation, and I don't think we've seen the best of Ellis yet, so I'm looking forward to the next 100.
How hard's he had to work over the last 2 years, particularly after what he did in the 2012 grand final, shredding his goal? Yeah,
it's probably more the emotional battle, the mental battle for X in terms of getting back on the track and breaking down and getting back and breaking down and seeing the premiership and being part of a club that plays in a premiership and not knowing that you're good enough but your body's not. So to go through all that and then to come over here and reintroduce himself as a player and establish himself as a senior player, he's gone through a lot.
What made you think that his body would hold up, given what he's been through?
Oh, we just took a punt, to be honest. Nothing made me think that he could hold up, other than the fact that he was ready for a change and a different environment, and it was caution to the wind. He wasn't on a 2 or 3 year deal; it was a 1 year deal, and it was a bit of an experiment, I suppose, see if we could do something different.
So you basically thought, if his body holds up, you know he's good enough. So that's what you had.
That was it. Yeah, and the fact that he's such a quality person, he's going to make our club better around the club as well.
Have they done anything differently with his body to enable him to play more often this year?
I'm sure they would have. I couldn't tell you the detail of what we've done. I know that the fitness staff have managed his loads from day one. He's never gone over 85% of his pre-season. His even introduction to NAB Cup and round 1 and how we did that was really managed and with patience. So whether that's different than what we did in the past with him, I'm sure it was a little bit different.
And I remember interviewing you in the pre-season. You said the club can't rise and fall off the back of Nick Nui. Do you get fascinated by the fascination with Nick Natanui over here?
I do get surprised with it's like when he's the best player in the competition to should he be dropped. I don't see that in other players. You know, you don't speak when someone plays poorly or has a couple of poor weeks and they've been an established senior player, all Australian. I don't see the criticism come so quick and then it goes away again. So it's a big roller coaster that I'm sure Nick takes no notice of, and I don't, mate. I don't really either. But that's the surprising thing for me. There's the levels of expectation and love just up and down all the time. So that's the biggest thing I've noticed.
And I guess where the club's at, it's about so much more than what Nick Natanui's doing, isn't it? You need to find players in sort of, I would say, 2 or 3 other areas, almost more than you need to find another ruckman, particularly with licence development. Yeah,
we're pretty happy with our ruck department. So we think that's developing well. And we're managing Cox and we're managing Lysett and Nick and Cal Sinclair as well. They're 4 quality ruckmen who will get a game almost every club. So that's the management issue is something we're working with, but there's other areas of our game and our players that we're working on.
When will you sit down and how will you sit down with Dean Cox about his future? Is that done at the end of the year, and is it something, do you leave it up to him, or would you nut it out between the club and himself?
Yeah, good question. We're working on that together at the moment. So I would have thought we'll work it out before the end of the year. And there's a bit of water to go under the bridge before we get to a solution on that.
Is there any reason to keep playing him though?
For next year?
For right now?
Oh, if he's in our best side, yeah, definitely. So I've got to find the balance between that and what I know he can deliver.
And how tough is that balance given how well licensed play?
They're all playing at regional standard at the moment, and obviously I spoke earlier about Nick's performance for that period of time. It's a reasonable battle. It's a good problem to have if they're all playing well.
So could Coxie miss this week? No, I said that. Could he be rested this week?
He'll be on the plane.
Who's
Just
captain this week?
Brisbane, Simo, is it?
Good question.
Sorry.
I don't know. Let's work that out. Who's captain this week? Yeah.
Can't work it out now.
Look, our captaincy's...
Everyone's playing well.
Everyone's played well, yeah. It's who do we want to be best on? Pick the captain. I wish it was that easy. But no, the captaincy... Jack, okay. The captaincy, we'll work that out today.
Are you going to go back to it? Are you just going to rotate them through for the rest?
We're not going to get every player a chance of being...
No, but
well, we've got probably the 4 or 5 that we think are holding us, representing our club really well from a leadership point of view, and we'll keep going through that.
Was there a temptation to rest Cox with the long flight?
6-day break, 5-hour flight, so and we're managing his body as well. So, like I said, he'll be on the plane.
And just a line on Brisbane, I guess their best is pretty good.
Yeah. Look, they've won, 3 out of the last 6. They've shown they can beat top teams, and they're harder to beat at home. So we looked at that North game closely, and on the weekend they didn't go away against the Tigers either. So it's going to be a difficult game.